Hey there guys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Build It TV. And in today's episode we're going to be working on Scrappie, the Drift 180SX there. And more specifically we're going to be doing all about the lock mods and the subframe and the modifications that we're going to do in all the steering rack to give us more angle for drifting. Now, do you need more angle to drift? No, you don't. It's not essential, but I like to call it a bit of a lifesaver. For me, you know, I'm not a pro drifter, I'm not the best drifter. And, well, it can make you look a hell of a lot better than you are by getting you out of the spots when you're at a real tight angle and not spinning. I only go to one place for my lock mods, and that is Bob Dove Motorsports. I've used them on pretty much every car I've run, and it worked perfectly for my style of driving, and well, it just works perfectly. So what I've got here is the subframe that came off of the RB 180 because this is an SR subframe, so we can't use it in that one, and we're going to strip absolutely everything off of it and get it just down to the bare bones of the subframe, then clean that up, ready to go to Mikey to be able to modify. So this is the bit we need with the mounts for the steering rack. This we'll put to one side because we're going to do something a little bit special with that, which means we won't need some of this. And let's get that cleaned up. Eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that that footage was not an SR subframe, that was an RB subframe for my 34, which is now... I'm not sure where that subframe is actually. Anyway, here we have all the components cleaned up and ready to go back in. So, we have got our modified subframe. The rack has been moved. We've got our modified knuckles, which I've painted up. We've got angled lower tension arms. These are actually the ones you saw in the last video that were all absolutely buggered, that I've cleaned up and painted, and I'll re-grease all the joints. These ones still need cleaning up. New rubber bushings for the steering rack. The covers and plates for the steering rack are non-power steering converted steering rack. Got our hubs, which are 5 studs because this is a 180SX, so it had those, well, a turbo 180SX, it had those from standard. Our lower control arms, we still need to get ball joints for those. Our front coilovers, which are Driftworks CS2s, and our modified tension rod bracket with supports and Nismo power brace style bar. I've also got this upgraded anti-roll bar, which I may or may not be using depending on which engine is going into this car. So it all depends on whether it will fit with the Sump one or not, convert around it. We'll see. So the first thing to do is to get the steering rack onto the subframe and put that in place, and then we'll fit up our subframe and we'll fit up our tension rod bracket. So our subframe and our bracing are in, and I've popped a coilover on. I've got this one sat in here, obviously do the other one in a bit. I do want to stress that this is just first fit. So stuff like the hardware is all going to come off and get zinc coated and look a whole lot nicer. Obviously the bay is work in progress at the minute. Top the other side, smooth it down, get that painted. This really is just to make sure everything fits and also get the vehicle rolling so we can do some other bits inside the vehicle as well. So I need to piece together the So we put the hub together. This is our knuckle that's modified for lock, and this is our hub here, the 5-stud hub. So we should be able to So most of the time spent on this is just finding bolts and stuff that I've lost. I thought I'd put it all in one place, but apparently not. The good thing is I've got loads of spares, so I can use the ones off of that and try and get everything right. The only thing I had to go buy some hardware for is these tension rods, purely because they're aftermarket and they don't come with the ones in them. Like the factory ones have studs coming out, these don't. But I've gone and bought some ball joints for the low control arms, and also some tie rod ends as well to go onto the end of the steering rack there. So I'm going to get those buttoned up, get the bolts cut down to size to fit properly on these, and then this should all be in place and ready for a wheel to go on so I can roll it around. Obviously it still needs brakes and stuff, and I'm still deciding on what to do for those, but if I get this done both sides, at least we can put the vehicle down on the ground and roll it about and go let's so. Also, we could check out the lock on it as well, and I was thinking, well, how can I best show you the lock between a modified and a standard S13? And then it dawned on me, that one's modified and that one's standard, and they are right next to each other. So I will show you on that in a bit. Yo, I think my bolts might be too long. Both sides are on, and I've got to say it looks pretty fucking good. Look at this. I do love that Porsche Miami blue. And I can't wait to see what it's going to look like when we've got the rust all sorted, the tubs all sorted, the textured, coloured, coded Raptor liner in there, and the bay all painted. Because there's just a hole there. There's some stuff there. So, with both sides on and just tweaked up, as I said, this is mock-up, then it's time to put some wheels on, right? So we won't be putting the big baller wheels on, these ones here. They haven't got any tyres on for the minute, so we've got these 3 spokes down here. We're going to thwack those on and just see what it looks like back on the ground again for the first time in like a year. So we're rocking the temporary wheels. These are the flush mount Ankeny RS3s. They look a lot better when you look at something with a bit of dish on it. In fact, like the face on that one is concave. The face on this one is sort of convex a little bit. It'd be kind of cool to switch them over and have one real decent set and buy some new lips. But these are, like I said, these are the temporary wheels. They're not staying on it. These are just for rolling it around. So, with that one in place, we're going to put the front bash bar back on and just lower it down on that. Boom, there it is, back on the ground. Right. Next up, I said I'll try out some lock for you, didn't I? Let's see what we can do with that, because I have no steering shaft or wheel, so we'll probably do it down here, but 2 seconds. So these two cars are roughly in line with each other at the front here, and here is the difference in lock. You can see, you know, we're coming out that angle, we're coming out completely different angle over here. You know, they're going to meet like here where my foot is. So tons more lock, fair bit more camber when it's on lock. I can't wait to get an engine in this and shred it. I think I've sorted an engine now, so I think I have that engine here landed by probably May. So as long as I can get the engine bay sorted and painted and whatnot before then, and get the rust sorted and stuff, then we should be on track to be drifting this thing in the summer, which will be awesome. Next up on the channel, you'll be seeing some R34 content. We've got a couple of videos coming up of that, plus another car that I've bought that you might have seen a little bit of in the background. So stay tuned, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you very soon.
Yeah. Raising the Tobagos, we growing like fresh tomatoes. Them boys on fire, too fuego, we pass it round hot potato. Everything is nuevo, I'm with my sweetie like Quavo. Need my cheese, need that queso, need my bread, need that bankroll. Wake up.